Meet Graham Hancock. He's a British author and reporter who is most famously known for his obsession with psychedelics, and he also has some popular theories about ancient civilizations. In his books, Hancock proposes an interesting theory about an advanced ancient civilization. Today, we'll be uncovering the truth about his books and find out what psychedelics he was on when he wrote them.
I am an advocate of the presence in our past of a forgotten episode, of a lost civilization, far more advanced than historians could ever possibly have imagined.
No real evidence of such a civilization exists, so he explains that the Earth must have experienced a natural catastrophe that wiped away all the evidence of their existence. He thinks that this would perfectly explain how the Egyptian pyramids were built.
In his books, Hancock basically says, "We don't know enough about this particular topic, so my theory that fills in these gaps must be true." Using that logic, since we don't really know enough about our own past, it must be true that humans are from Mars, and that we were actually the ones that killed all dinosaurs, and we can make any endless such claims, but none of these are grounded in actual evidence. Hancock can identify gaps and try to fill them with any far-fetched theory he likes, but as long as he doesn't have strong evidence to back himself up, his theories are meaningless.
Let's talk about Egypt. Hancock doesn't believe Egyptians had developed enough to suddenly construct these giant, perfect pyramids. The gaps his theories speak of are not actually gaps at all. We have the evidence that ancient Egyptians developed irrigation systems and had long-distance trade on the Nile. They used these systems to transport the material required to build the pyramids. Archaeologists have also found workers' quarters used during the building of these pyramids. The most famous one is the Kahun workers' village, which was home to over 3,000 Egyptian workers, which is a massive workforce. Also, the Egyptians did not just wake up one day with the knowledge to construct these giant pyramids. Hancock is completely ignoring the gradual process where pyramids evolved from small mastabas to step pyramids and finally led to the smoother ones at Giza.
We do agree with Hancock on one thing though. He says that the pyramids were built to perfection inside and out, and that forced labor could not have been motivated enough to build them to such perfection. However, this doesn't mean that some other civilization built them. Archaeologists have found evidence that the pyramid workers in Egypt were actually happy workers that had great working and living conditions. Every worker had their personal sleeping area, was well rested and well fed. The workers were also rewarded with art, land, and sometimes extravagant burials. The pyramids brought together a happy, motivated working class and their families. This is why some archaeologists claim that the Egyptians didn't build the pyramids actually built Egypt. Hancock cherry-picks his data and ignores evidence that goes against his theory. He's simply in disbelief of the Egyptians as a culture being able to do this, when they clearly did.
That's why we believe that Hancock is promoting pseudo-archaeology. In essence, pseudo-archaeology is archaeology without the scientific method. So it is not grounded in facts, discoveries, or scientific experiments, and it usually serves to promote some sort of agenda. Hancock's promotion of pseudo-archaeology is a problem in a couple of ways. For starters, his work can create a culture of science denial. Asking questions and proposing theories isn't a bad thing, but denying research is, especially when you do so selectively. Ancient Egypt is the culture under attack here. Why doesn't Hancock question the ability of the Greeks to build monuments like the Parthenon?
By promoting falsified reconstructions of the past, pseudo-archaeologists create false narratives that can have severe present-day consequences. For example, Hitler cited Gustav Cousinet's archaeology in Mein Kampf to justify the basis of the Nazi movement. These conspiracies have major consequences when people in power use them to forward nationalist agenda. By selectively denying science when it's about a different culture, pseudo-archaeologists drive subtle racism. Conspiracies about ancient cultures can be really interesting, but it is very important to think about the actual impact they have on people from those cultures.
Graham Hancock, consider your myth busted.